Have you ever had something stolen from you? How did it feel? That moment of loss. I want to tell you a story about this one sister. I heard it yesterday. She basically is one of my confidence students, and she told me how she was very shy to speak up at work. Like, she really didn't like speaking in meetings or in groups or anything like that, except speaking one-to-one. And she told me how she would speak to this one woman privately. It was like a friend. She would talk about life, she would talk about work, she would talk about all these kind of things. And, this was just normal. And then she said, one day, I realized that the things I was talking about with this woman, she used to go to the meetings and she would present in the meetings the ideas I shared with her. And she would share them, and she wouldn't say, I shared them. She would pretend they were her own ideas. And this kept happening and happening until she got promoted. Can you imagine that you have these amazing ideas, you're so shy to actually speak up, and then the person that you trust, the only person that you speak to one-to-one, takes those ideas, presents them as their own, and then gets promoted. This is what happened to her. So you can imagine the pain, you can imagine the frustration, you can imagine what you go through, not only through the loss of stealing, but also knowing that someone else has been promoted to a position when they didn't deserve it. And you know what? This is actually really common. This happens to a lot of people. And it's really sad, but unfortunately, it is not uncommon. It happens a lot to people that have issues around confidence and communication. So when this happened, obviously it shook the sister. She really thought about this incident, and she probably started questioning things for herself. So she said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop behaving like this, and I'm going to start speaking up. I'm going to start speaking up, and no longer am I going to do this. No longer am I going to take this. I won't let this happen to me again. So she started speaking to herself in terms of coaching herself and telling herself, I need to do this. I need to speak up and everything. And you know what? Alhamdulillah, mentally, she was completely prepared. She was ready to do this. She had decided, and that was it. So the time for the meeting came, alhamdulillah, and she did nothing. She kept quiet. She didn't speak up at all. She just couldn't do it. Even though she went through all this pain, even though she promised herself, even though she was psyched up and she was ready and she had decided, she just couldn't do it. And this happens sometimes because your behavior is something that's been the same way for years, maybe decades. And so for you to try and change it on your own just like that is very tough. Even when you go through pain and trauma like she did, still it can be really hard to actually change it. And so she realized that if I'm going to do something about this, I have to get help externally. And she realized that if she carries on like this, it's not just her work that's going to suffer, it's every part of her life that's going to suffer. Because confidence and communication isn't just about the way you feel. It's also about the way you interact with yourself, with others, with the world, and then the impact that you have. And so a lot of people, they confuse confidence, they confuse communication to just be this little part of their life, but it's not. It will affect every single part of your life. And so what she decided is that she's going to do something about it, but she's going to get help from someone who has actually helped tens of thousands of Muslims. Someone handsome and wise. I'm just kidding. Well, about the handsome part anyway, right? But she decided that she's going to get help from someone external. And I really commend her for this, because it can be hard to go external and say, look, I need help with this thing. And so if you're someone who has been suffering, and I do say suffering because I know what people are going through when their confidence is low, when their communication is poor. If you're someone who's been going through this and you realize that things are not going to change just by themselves, then you really need to get external help. It doesn't need to be me. It can be anyone, even like a friend or someone. But the reason I'm saying this is because if you don't have something outside of yourself to change, it can be really difficult. And I want it to be easy. And I want you to stop suffering. And I want you to start being successful. Like I really believe you can be. I really have this vision for you, where a lot of the times my vision for someone is actually much higher than their own vision for themselves, especially when someone is lacking confidence. So for yourself, I really have this vision of you getting past these issues of confidence, of communication, and actually starting to have an impact in your own life, in the lives of the people that you care about, and generally people that you don't even know. I believe that you can have an impact on them. But in order for you to do that, you have to overcome some of these things. You need to take the steps that this sister's taken, where she's reached out and she said, I want help with this. So if this is something that you want help with, just comment below, just say, reply to this and just say Bismillah, and let's get started. Let's get started. There should also be a link in the video, depending upon where you're watching this video, and that link will take you some free training that I have. And then once you've been through that free training, and that will help you in terms of starting your journey on your confidence. Once you've been through that, if you need more help, you can book a call with us and our team, and we can have a call one-to-one, go much deeper into the actual issues that you face, into why you need to transform your confidence, your communication, what we can do to help you, and how you can take that to the next level. So I pray that Allah makes it easy for you. I pray that you don't become victim to an idea thief or any of these kind of issues. And I pray that Allah takes your confidence, your communication, and your impact to that next level. So inshallah, I'll speak to you soon.